All right, welcome to the sessions. Today we're going to be covering up algebra. I'm starting the algebra series from today, where I'm going to be covering everything in algebra from start to end, basically. So let's try to get into that. And for that, I'm going to be sharing my whiteboard quickly to you and start telling you what algebra is and all of that thing. So I'm guessing we are on the whiteboard. Yeah, we are here. So let's start with algebra. So guys, if I talk about algebra, you see. Let's first of all put up the heading here, algebra, right? Now, algebra is a very basic, let's say, imagine I tell you that, I'm thinking of a number and I add 5 to it and then I get 12. Can you get the number if I just ask you that randomly? So maybe most of you will say that maybe it is 7, no, but how did you figure it out? So that thinking process is basically exactly what algebra is. Okay. Algebra is not just about numbers, not just about letters and equations. It's actually a way to think, uh, to solve problem and actually to find out the known unknown values, which is very, so for example, x plus 5 is equals to 12, right? I said that I imagine I have a number and I add 5 to it and I get 12. So how did I get 12 basically? So here we don't know the value of x, and x is this x that you see, this is called variable. What is this called? This is called variable. Okay, something that can change, basically. Now, what are the specific terms that you should be knowing about here when you're studying algebra? You should be knowing about definitely what are variables, which I just wrote it down. So variables is the first thing. Variables means any unknown value, x, y, a, z, any unknown value basically is your variable. Okay, second is, let's say we have constants. So what are constants, guys? Constant is something like number basically, which doesn't change. 5, 10, 100, a fixed number basically is a constant, guys. Okay, remember that also. Then you have, maybe let's say, expression. What is an expression? Something that you are not equating to zero, for example, and which has numbers to it and variables to it. X plus 5, 4x, etc., etc., can be expressions. Equations, guys, can be the thing. Let's say, for example, if I'll write down about equations here. Now, equation is something that you can equate to something, that you can equate to anything, like x plus 5 is equals to 12 is an equation. X plus anything that you can equate basically. So expression has no equal signs. Remember, an equation always has an equal sign. That's the major difference. Expression doesn't have an equal sign, but expressions does have sorry, expression doesn't have an equal sign, but equation does have an equal sign. Make sure you remember that. Now, obviously, there can be the questions if that I've written at the top here. Let's go back on this. X plus 5 is equals to 12, this equation that I've written out here. How can you solve this? Well, it's pretty simple. There are two ways you can do it. So the rule number one is, when you take 5, this 5 that has been written on the left hand side of the equals to sign, if you take it to the here, to the other side of equals to the right hand side, it always change its sign. And if it change its sign, it will make it as 12 minus 5, and then that can make it 7. That's pretty simple to get the answer as. Change the sign and then you get the answer. The other way is that you add or eliminate basically 5 from both the side by subtracting 5 on both the side. That is called elimination method. That way also you get 7. In all over UK, all over Dubai, there are different methods followed upon, depending upon your school teacher. Some teacher teach you one way, the other teacher teach you the other way. That's up to you which way you want to know. Specifically, I would suggest you the first way is better. Okay, now let's say you went to the shop, okay, and you bought something, but you forgot the price. So in that scenario, let's say I'll say that your price is equals to price plus 50 is equals to 200. You forgot the price. You bought something, but you forgot the price. Now, what is the price here? Well, pretty simple. What you will do in this to find out the price? Well, you will say, well, very simple. I'll do like price would be equals to nothing but 200 minus 50, and which will give me 150 as an answer, right? Because obviously that's pretty simple. This is algebra in real life. If you just try to connect it with real life, this is what algebra is in real life, right? Now, let's talk about more some questions of the practice, because this is a very basic video we are making. We will just discuss very basic stuffs. Okay, let's say for example, guys, we have x plus 8 is equals to 15. So you can write down this as, you can take this 8 to the other side of equals to, that make 15 minus 8. As I mentioned, the sign of the number will change when it it shift from one part of the equal to the other part of equals to. So this would be giving you, I think, 7 as an answer for your x. That's how you get it. Okay, that's your question number one. Let's say we have a question number two here. Let's practice some more questions. As I mentioned, maybe we have the next question as y minus 3 is equals to 10. Now in that type, again, you will just shift the number to the other side. It will make it 10 plus 3, and y would be equals to 10 plus 3 is what? 10 plus 3 is 13. Yeah, so that's your answer, 10 plus 3. It changed the sign and it get the answer. Let's say, for example, we have now, now, I mean, this kind of questions can be there and you need to know this. So now we have covered what algebra is, what variables and constant are, what is the difference between expressions and equations, and how to solve the simple equations. Really, it's pretty simple. If you really understood it, that's great. You can, I can just give you some questions to practice that you can do here. For you guys, just write down these questions just to practice and solve it on your end. If you feel like anything you don't get, you can comment down below and I can just answer you there itself. Okay, well, mostly this is pretty simple, and mostly I think very few people will get the chance to watch it because of the reason that everybody knows about this type of concept, especially if someone who's from the higher grade is studying this. So that's why. So y minus 12 you can write down as 18. Then sixth is, let's say, a plus 25 is equals to 60. There can be some challenging questions also where like big numbers are there. But that's all for today's video. It's basic, starting, and beginner friendly. Thank you so much.